Is the man coming down on cryptocurrency, regulation, privacy, and KYC? Straight talk between you and I coming up right now. I want to start this video off by sharing with you a very powerful but simple lesson that I learned earlier in my life by a man who is much older and obviously much wiser than myself. In my early 20s, right after I got out of the U.S. military, I worked for a company. In this company, I worked really hard. I ended up getting promoted into a management position. One evening, one of my employees did something that I didn't agree with. The next morning, when my manager, the gentleman I'm referring to, came in, I asked him if I could take a couple minutes of his time and I could explain the situation that had occurred the night before. He said, "Sure, take a seat." So I sat down across the desk from him. I explained to him the situation, how I saw it, and how this guy was wrong in his actions. And I couldn't understand for the life of me why he didn't see things the way that I saw them, why he didn't do the exact thing that I wanted him to do the way that I wanted him to do it. My manager looked at me, he smiled, he took a deep breath, and then he leaned into me. He said, "Son, not everyone is going to do things the way that you do. Not everyone is going to think the exact way that you think." That lesson taught me a lot. Although simple, I've carried it with me my entire life. And I think it's relevant for the discussion that we're about to have about cryptocurrency, regulation, KYC, and privacy. In my opinion, one of the best teachers is life's experiences. Through my shallow thinking and small-mindedness, I learned a very valuable lesson that day. If you've ever seen any of my videos before, you know I don't do a lot of talking head videos. That's where the straight talk comes in. Up close and personal, just my thoughts. And while we're on the subject, please take note that everything I say here is of my opinion. I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm not anybody that you should be taking financial advice from. All right, now that that's all out of the way, let's talk about the topic at hand. Is the man coming down on cryptocurrency? Regulation, privacy, and KYC. The reason why I started out the video with one of my life lessons on keeping an open mind and realizing that not everybody is going to think the way that you think is because it's extremely relevant to what I feel is the overall mindset of many people in the cryptocurrency space. Trust me, I see both sides of the coin. This is something different. This is a buck. This is a hit. This is a revolution to the way that our current system works. I also see the other side of the coin. This has to be regulated. They need rules. They need laws. They need to be governed. Two sides of the coin. Which side are you on? Well, in the end, it doesn't really matter. Here's why. Regardless of your individual thought process or my individual thought process, I'm on the side where I agree that I don't like the current situation. I don't like the current financial system. I don't like the overreach of the governmental agencies that are in power. But I also realize that I am in the minority. In other words, most of us that are into crypto today represent the very small percentage, 1 or 2% of the world's population that is currently in crypto. Now, with that said, think about this for just a moment. Do you expect the other 98 or 99% of the world to come over and think like you think? Do you really expect them, the 98 or 99%, to conform to the 1 or 2%? Honestly, that's not going to happen. I challenge you to ask yourself why you got interested in cryptocurrency. You can give me whatever excuse you want. You can say you got into it for the technology. You got into it because of the revolutionary way of thinking and doing things. What you really got into it for is the motivation that motivates everyone out there. Financial means. You saw an opportunity, just like myself, to get into something that made you money. Of course, there's a lot more to it than that. But money is a great motivator. And speaking of money, the amount of people, the amount of money that is currently in the space is not going to make any of us that just got in within the last 6 months super wealthy, super rich. You can mine, you can do daily profitability, but for the money that everybody is wanting to see, there's gonna have to be a large influx of money into this space. How do we get financial institutions? How do we get big money into the space? It's not doing it the way that we've been doing it. It's going to be by conforming to some of their standards, not forcing that big money to conform to ours. Now, I'm not talking about manipulation. I'm not talking about playing the game. But as you can see, most of these governmental agencies, most of these big businesses, most of these financial institutions are hesitant to come into this space as is. How do we change their mind? We're going to have to conform to a format that they're more comfortable with, that they can regulate, that they can play their game in. It's our playground right now, but unfortunately, if we want to see real growth, there is going to be a level in which they turn our playground into theirs. A year ago, I never thought any of those words would come out of my mouth. But I can sit here and lie to you and say that I got into this purely for the educational excitement and the technology and the doing new things and all that other stuff that comes in the cryptocurrency space. But I would be lying to you. The reality is, me along with every single one of you watching this are doing this for the money motivation. Right now, none of us are making a lot of money. How do we change that? We've got to change the status quo. The way we are doing things right now is not attracting anyone new to the space. How do we attract new money, new people to the space? We make it more accessible. We make it more like what they are used to, not what we are fighting against. Because to be honest, what we were fighting against is the same thing that is scaring a lot of that new money off. I want to make money, just like you want to make money. In order for us to usher in more people into this space, there has to be some level of conformity on both sides. If both sides are rigid and neither will bend, the cryptocurrency space will not grow and may even continue to go down. Let's take, for example, two projects that I am interested in, that I've done a lot of videos on. The first one being Electroneum. They just announced yesterday that they're going to be partnering with a firm that will help them with KYC. If you don't know what KYC is, it's Know Your Customer. It's personal information, and what it does from a regulatory standpoint is helps deter money laundering. If you're moving money around, that financial institution or that business wants to be able to know who you are and what money you're moving around. That way, they don't have the liability that the current crypto market gives them, which is moving money around. If you're doing something nefariously and they don't know who you are, and the government cracks down on that business, that's a lot of liability. And businesses just do not want that type of liability. They are not going to make deals with these cryptocurrency projects if they are unwilling to conform to a certain extent to how they do business. That's just the facts and the reality of life. And the second one is bit.tube. bit.tube just came out with a MasterCard, and the first thing on the registration form, besides your name, is your driver's license or passport photo, which is KYC. Why is this important? Because MasterCard or a MasterCard issuer will not deal with the liability of transferring money around without knowing to whom it is going to or who is sending it. Guys, no matter whether you agree with these things that some of these projects are doing from a regulatory or setting up for a regulatory environment, KYC, or removing privacy features from the cryptocurrency, regardless of whether you agree with it or I agree with it or not, business trumps your personal belief. And if you really truly want to make money, you are going to have to change your thought process. Trust me, I've been doing a lot of soul searching and a lot of thinking, and I have had to change my thought process. There are privacy coins out there. If you want to send money anonymously, so be it. Use a different currency. If your currency that you're interested in is setting itself up for a regulatory environment, that is a good thing, no matter what your or mine personal belief is. Guys, I could talk for another 20 minutes. The video's already went a little bit too far. I'll go ahead and do some videos in the future, some more straight talk videos, where I just sit there and look at the camera and tell you what I think. But in the meantime, after you watch this video, please like the video and comment below. It really means a lot to me, and it would mean a ton if you would take the time to write out a comment, your thoughts, not necessarily just I agree or I disagree. If you have a disagreement, by all means, as I said before, I hope we can have an intelligent debate on these topics that I'm covering. Everybody, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.